The pneumatic underpinner U300, manufactured in Italy by Alfa Macchine, is needed to join the pieces of a frame.
The first part of this video shows how the underpinner works. The second part will explain the characteristics of the machine and will show all of its parts in detail.
The U300, which is shown in the video, has been installed on a base which is provided as an optional.
The machine, however, can also work without the base, by simply being placed on a working bench. Also, the extensions, right and left, which are needed to place the frame on during the assembly are an optional, which are provided separately. The underpinner needs a compressor. A 24-litre compressor is sufficient, like the Sil Air 50x24 silence compressor which you see in the video. We are now seeing how the machine assembles a frame approximately 3 cm wide by applying 2 wedges per corner. First of all, you have to set the 2 points in which the wedges will be applied. This is done by tightening the 2 special knobs. Then the horizontal presser has to be inserted, which has the function of keeping the frame's corners still during the assembly. The presser has to be fixed at about 1 cm from the corner. When you will press the pedal, the presser will be automatically pushed against the frame's corner. We are now seeing how to assemble a frame which is a slightly formed shape. For this type of frame, an angular buffer is needed which adapts better to the shape of the frame. Also, for this frame, 2 wedges are applied. First of all, you have to set the 2 positions of the corner in which the wedges will be applied. You then proceed with the assembly. We're now going to see how to assemble a frame with larger dimensions. For this frame, 3 wedges have to be applied to each corner, 2 on the higher part of the moulding and 1 on the lower. For frames with larger dimensions, such as this one, it's far more comfortable for the workman to stay on the inside of the frame during the assembly.
The maximum width and height of the mouldings which the U300 can assemble are of 8 cm. The U300 underpinner uses special wedges which are 5, 7, 10, 12 and 15 mm in height. The wedges used by the U300 need a particular formed shape, which in the moment they are inserted create a force which tends to close the joint.
We are now using wedges which are 15 mm high. Firstly, the so-called head suitable for 15 mm wedges has to be inserted and it's fixed with an Allen key. A head corresponds to every wedge height. This head has the function of regulating the push of the wedge upwards. Before inserting the stick of wedges, the transparent protection screen has to be lowered, and the lever which blocks the wedge pushing spring has to be removed. Then you insert the stick of wedges whilst paying attention that the sharpened side is facing upwards. The sharpened side is the one that's covered with the glue. You can use a special magnet supply to remove the wedges from the loader. We want to apply 4 15 mm wedges to this frame, stacking 2 by 2 as you are seeing. First of all, the 2 positions in which the points will be applied have to be set. The 2 positions are fixed by tightening the appropriate knobs. Now, however, we're seeing how to set the machine to assemble a flat frame approximately 5 centimeters wide. We want to insert 3 wedges for this frame. The position of the first and third wedge can be set. We should choose a more or less intermediate position for the wedge which goes in the center. The transparent plastic protection has to be kept lowered during the functioning of the underpinner. If it's raised, all the functions of the machine become inactive. The protection can be moved forwards and backwards by making it run along 2 parallel tracks. The protection can also be raised or lowered depending on the dimensions of the frame which is to be assembled. To do this, you run it along the vertical tracks. After having chosen the height, you have to fix the protection by tightening the 2 special knobs. The vertical presser's height can be regulated. It has to be fixed at about 50 millimeters from the frame. To regulate the vertical position of the presser, you have to firstly release it by pulling backwards the knob which blocks it. When the knob is released, it automatically makes a kind of small bolt enter one of the holes which are found along the presser's bar. Its position is so blocked. 2 different buffers can be applied at the base of the presser, both with a felt support. The round buffer suitable for flat frames, the angular buffer suitable for shaped frames. Note that the buffers remain fixed to the vertical presser by a magnet which is found on its base. The vertical presser can also be regulated horizontally by making it run along its tracks and fixing it with a blocking lever. The frontal presser is needed to push the corner of the frame towards the supporting plate and has to be positioned about 1 centimeter from the corner of the frame. To position it, you only have to lift it and move it to its new position. We now examine the adjustments which are found on the panel. We've already seen how to set the 2 points on which the wedges are applied. We now see in more detail how the setting is done from another angle, or rather from the back of the machine. To fix the 2 positions, you have to tighten the 2 knobs. This small lever is needed to activate and deactivate the spring which pushes the wedges forwards. This spring has to be deactivated before inserting a stick of wedges. The spring has to be newly activated immediately after the insertion. This is the gauge which indicates the pressure. From 2.5 to 4 atmospheres is enough for soft woods. Approximately 4 to 5 atmospheres for woods of medium hardness, from 6 to 8 atmospheres for hardwoods. The pressure regulator is needed to change the pressure. The knob has to be raised and turned clockwise to raise the pressure. To decrease it, it has to be rotated anti-clockwise. The knob has to be lowered again to fix the set pressure. This is a type of brake which blocks the setting of the 2 points in which the wedges are applied.
The U300 works with compressed air and is controlled by a double functioning pedal.
To show how the pedal works better, we've placed it next to the machine. When the pedal is pressed halfway, it activates 3 elements. 1. The blocking of the plate, or rather the setting of the 2 places in which the wedges will be applied. 2. The vertical presser, which is lowered above the corner of the frame to keep it still during the assembly. And 3. The horizontal presser, which is pushed towards the corner of the frame. When the pedal is then pushed completely, it activates expulsion of the wedges. When the machine is installed, the 3 tubes with 3 different colors which come out of the pedal have to be inserted in the 3 fittings with the same color which are on the right side of the machine. The tube of the compressed air which comes out of the compressor has to be connected to the special fitting which you are seeing. A round buffer and an angular buffer, a 5mm Allen key for the replacement of the heads, a magnet to remove the wedges. An instructions and maintenance manual is also provided.
The U300 underpinner can be placed on a normal working table or on a working bench with variable inclination provided as an optional.
The pair of extensions provided as an optional allow the frame to be supported during the assembly. The 2 extensions have to be hooked to the machine with the screws supplied. Another optional is made up of the plates for octagonal frames and hexagonal frames. The plates have to be applied instead of the normal supporting plate and are fixed with special screws in specific holes.
You will find the Underpinner U300 in the catalogue of Rinaldin and on the website www.rinaldin.com.